Right now.
Welcome again, once again, to Max Resistance Roundtable. This is the Resistance Roundtable, August 12th, 2014. I'm up north of the 49th. I'll be your host tonight. Our guest again is Ryan Lipinski, who was a Army medic. He also has 2 Bachelor of Science degrees in health science through Fort Sam, Texas. He also hosts Reliance Cabin on aroundcabin.com. We are streaming live on Google Hangouts and broadcasting on FPRN Radio. The Listen Live line is available at 712-432-4365, and it's powered by Audio Now. So this will save your data. You can just call in and listen. The call-in line for questions is through FPRN Radio. Will be 567-314-9296. Or you can Skype by adding FPRN Radio Live on your Skype app. And as always, we are located on maxresistance.com in the chat room. And if you can, chat, post. We'll try and answer your questions. And our panel tonight, welcome everybody. Justin Bryant from the Ottawa Expositor. QK Ultra is in the house. Professor Doom, welcome. I'm glad we can have him back. Ryan Lipinski, of course, is coming through on FPRN Radio. Brian Roberts is our Hangout producer, and myself up north. As well, we will have another guest, hopefully joining us in a little while. And Red Pill Revolution and Press Reset had confirmed, but I think they're running a little bit late tonight. So, wow, what a mouthful. Thank you for coming and joining us again. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey.
Good to be back.
Good. Everybody keeps cutting in and out. We're having a little bit of difficulty with our audio. So I'll welcome our guest, Ryan Lipinski, again. Thank you again for coming out. We kind of wanted to recap a little bit of what the last show was about, was regarding the Ebola breakout and, apparent breakout. I can't say it's a pandemic or a big scare right at the moment. It seems like the media has kind of phased it out in the background for, of course, Robin Williams and other issues. But just to recap, last week's show, Mr. Lipinski from Fixed by Doc, that's Fixed by Doc YouTube channel. He, DOC, by the way, he went over with us some of the steps that we can take to kind of avoid Ebola, prevent cross-contamination. And, yeah. So, any new revelations this week, Ryan?
Well, last week we were talking about how the United States government brought the 2 patients in and how they were so lax in the security and didn't follow proper procedure. And then this week we see these other countries who are going in and following the actual proper procedures. Last week I told you the step-by-step exactly how it should have been done and what its proper protocol is to transport Category A diseases or patients infected with them. And then you see people like Dr. Gupta on the mainstream media news saying there's nothing to worry about, telling Americans, oh, we don't need to do all that stuff. And then here it is, you've got other countries up there doing just that, exactly word for word what I was saying last week on your radio show that needed to be done, with military escorts, putting them in the bubbles, and having the special tubes and everything that they transport them through and all that kind of stuff. You see all these other countries are doing exactly that, but for some reason our own government thinks it's not necessary. I just think that's kind of funny when everybody else around the world is taking these proper measures and our own government can't even do that to protect us.
Yeah, and when we look
maybe
at
they wanted.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Maybe it was a way that they kind of wanted us to get a little bit more personal to the patients in America than the other countries.
Oh, protocols are protocols, right?
Oh, of course, absolutely. It is very, very peculiar, especially, I mean, the second one, they're walking by just this plain dressed person right next to them. So, I mean, like, for that to ever be able to happen, and then you see every other country, I mean, what decisions are being made that, you know, that this one is an anomaly with the rest of the world, really?
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone ever find out the identities of those people that were just sort of hanging out?
No. I haven't found anything. And what was interesting?
But to go back to what Ryan said about that, just those couple of people outside is nothing. Think about all the people that he walked by that were also not in protective suits, that were standing, you know, left and right in hallways, at the desks, et cetera, as they walked him through that hospital. Mm-hmm. Or did they take everybody and quarantine down all the hallways and lock all the doors and et cetera, et cetera?
Well, it was interesting. One of our viewers.
That hospital with lower immune systems and whatnot. I mean, you go to the hospital because you're sick, and you're sick because your immune system is already suffering from something. So it's already not up to par. And then you're going to walk somebody with a Class A or Category A disease down the hall full of sick people who are susceptible to just about anything at that moment, and then more so than the average person because they're already sick. And you know, they don't. You know, you've got videos of them just prancing these people around like there's nothing wrong with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I found interesting in one of the videos, one of our subscribers made a comment, a really good comment actually, because he noticed that the people surrounding the fella that was kind of come in on a gurney in a black and tan, and of course we noticed black and tan all over the place in this Boston bombing, right?
Right, yeah.
So you wonder if the black and tan boys, is what I called it in my See Something, Say Something video, you know, if they're part of it, which was part of CSI Global, CST Global, sorry. It's been a while since I refreshed my memory on the Boston bombing. But it all comes down to a Mossad organization working out of Israel who does 99% of the world's security forces, CST Global. So
seems to go back to one root a lot, hey?
Well, you kind of start to wonder about the information that, you know, what you're looking at, and I was surprised I missed it, but I did. But the black and tan boys were kind of all over this thing with the guy in the gurney being transferred. Also, there was an article come out, and this is kind of what Ryan Fixed by Doc is talking about, is the one on the is the Ebola scare fabricated, and it went through step by step and of the process of how they should have been transferred, how they you know, my question is one, why did they set up so many chambers, bubble chambers for the transport? Why? Another question I'm going to ask you is, I'll let you go ahead with this, is why did they use like a diplomatic transfer, the aircraft they used, rather than a medical transfer plane? They used it looked like diplomatic because the seats were nice. I've flown on the plane and it isn't as cushy as that one. It seemed military, a diplomatic transport. And I was wondering, some of the questions within that video also was the IV bottle, if that would cause a leak within the atmosphere of the bubble. So I'll let you run with those questions if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, those bubbles are designed to have ports in them, so we can't really tell if the IV bag is actually utilizing one of the ports. I would imagine that because they're doing everything else correctly in the video, from what I can tell, that the IV bag is utilizing a port. Basically, what it is you have an IV bag, and the hose will come down, and it'll go through a junction port, and then there'll be a hose on the inside or tubing on the inside where they can connect and put the catheter into the patient, and then they can change the bags from the outside. If the proper procedure is done, then there won't be any contamination there. IV bags are designed to be sterile themselves, and the changing of the bags and everything are all sterile, and there's no cross-contamination there. So from what I can tell in the videos and on the news, that portion with the IV bag is perfectly fine. Now, they should have had better support for it. From what I could tell, it was just kind of flopping around and could have easily have been ripped out with all those people running around there. They had too many hands on deck, basically. As far as the multiple chambers or all the spare bubble gurneys, if you want to call them that, in the airplane, I think that I counted like 5 or 6 of them in there. You have one for the patient, and then you have at least 1 or 2 at least one for a backup in case there was a tear or a rip in the initial one, so they had to immediately transfer the patient to a backup. Why they had so many, you can only speculate that maybe they were afraid that there was a risk of cross-contamination, and so that they wanted to be prepared. They were probably expecting to take more than one patient, or they were expecting, because a lot of the doctors that have been treating patients are getting contaminated quite easily, and they haven't figured out exactly how. So they brought in extra gurneys, bubble gurneys, to just in case one of the doctors handling the patient could be treated themselves in the event that they had to. It still doesn't explain why they had 5 or 6 of these gurneys. It's a little overkill. As far as the political plane rather than a medical plane, with the Ebola virus, time is of the essence. There's a couple of reasons why they could have used that plane. That plane could have been already on hand. It could have been right there on the tarmac field and ready to go. So it was the easiest to be accessed, and the equipment was there to be loaded right away, even though it didn't have the best of the best abilities to load and unload the patients, because it only had the single door rather than the double doors and all that kind of stuff, and it did have to be outfitted properly. But it could be to actually get a medical plane across the ocean or from one country to another, there's a lot of hoops that you have to jump through from government to government, a lot of red tape, a lot of paperwork that's got to be filled out.
Hi, Up North here. Thank you very much for watching the first 15 minutes of Max Resistance Roundtable on YouTube. We've now archived the full show on maxresistance.com. If you come to the main site, click on Chat Room. The chat will take you to our archive. And in the chat room, there's an area, either the first show or the latest show will be up right here, so you can play it. It's always on running. And the archives are down below. All of the shows that we've recorded will be here full length. So we're getting a little limited on some of what YouTube allows us to do. So just click on any one of the shows you'd like to view. They're listed by date. And go ahead and push the play button. And you can move ahead to the 15-minute mark and begin watching your video from there. And that will give you all of the rest of the show. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on maxresistance.com. Bye.